Hi, I'm Leo Bierenberg.
And I'm Zach Robinson. We are the composers for Cobra Kai, and we are here with Mary Mauser, who plays Samantha LaRusso. And we're so psyched to talk to you about Sam's theme and Sam's music within the show, especially in season 4.
I'm excited. I'm excited to hear it all. I'm excited to hear y'all's perspective, and then I'll embarrass myself by giving away like just how freaking badass I think Sam sounds at this point. So I'll take it.
We're all in agreement there.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. Let's talk about Sam in season 4.
Okay.
Can you give us a little walkthrough about where her character is at the start of the season?
The thing I was most excited about going into season 4 was kind of, obviously we're picking up from 3. It was in a very dark place for Sam. Very she's figuring a lot of stuff out. And when I booked the show, I knew that I would be Daniel LaRusso's daughter, and I knew that I would be Miguel's love interest. And that was kind of like my concept for it. But I feel like if you actually watch the show now, her longest term relationship is with karate, and it's the rockiest relationship in her life, and it's the most consuming relationship in her life. So I was excited going into 4 because coming out of 3, her and karate kind of had another big breakup, and then kind of tried to get back together, and then didn't really know what to do. You know what I mean? She doesn't really know how to trust it, and so 4 was exciting knowing that how high the stakes are. Sam's relationship with karate is on the line again, and then also, I mean, obviously, going into 4. She's struggling again with her self, her identity, and all the different parts that make up one person, and how you can have all of those coexist at the same time. And I don't know that she had that, figured out. So that was something I was excited to sink my teeth into.
It's pretty wild to think about the first time you
just
see
thinking that,
Sam
yeah.
do karate is at the end of season 1
Yeah.
in that very short clip, and you do the one spinning kick.
Uh-huh.
And we've come so far since that.
And even the first time you hear Sam's theme, I don't know if you even remember the first time you hear Sam's theme.
Is it in the lab?
It's in the lab.
Yeah.
In episode 6 of season 1, when Miguel and Sam start to kind of connect for the first
when they're
time.
doing the frog?
Yeah, you're doing dissecting some creature.
It was a pig.
That was a theme that we had created for you, but we didn't know where that theme was going to take us. And fast forward to season 4, and we'll listen to it, but it has grown so much, and we're hearing it in season 4. And part of the reason we wanted to talk to you is because it's just massive now.
Yeah.
It's triumphant, it's bruising, it's epic. So just the evolution from season to season and it taking us up to the All Valley, there are some really intense moments with this theme that we just played on a little scene in the lab in season 1. So it's been a wild journey.
That's so cool how that parallels what you guys are doing, paralleling my thought process while I'm there on the day and being hey, this is the scene where it's kind of cutesy, and and then you guys are doing the same thing on your end. Okay, this is the start of figuring this character out. We don't know who she is yet. I don't know who she is yet. We kind of find that on the same path. And,
Absolutely.
And then now we're here where I hopefully a little scarier.
You end the season in a lot of ways. The major story arc of the season overall parallels Sam's. That's what we wanted to talk about. We wanted to listen to some of this stuff and just kind of break it down.
Well, looks like you got what you wanted.
In this scene, Sam has kind of decided to embrace the Johnny sides of things for the first time, and you're about to jump off the roof after the whole day of saying you're not jumping, no one's jumping.
Well, she gets egged on.
Yeah.
It's a very reactive thing, which I love.
I love that. Yeah, that came from that text. I know you'll always do the right thing kind of thing, and that's. I feel like Sam hasn't had a rebellious teen phase in the sense of rebelling against her parents so much. It's more rebelling against karate, I guess, the whole thing. But I love that moment of just being you know what, I'm gonna show him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, and then Johnny sing, and then Miguel, and then nobody's listening to me, and I'm just gonna jump off a building. That's the answer.
We have so much fun on this show, kind of mixing the sounds with the different characters. So we don't often get to hear the Sam theme on electric guitars,
Right.
harmonized,
guitar,
hair metal style.
That's what I was gonna say. This gives me Baby Johnny vibes in a way, which is the beginning of that journey for her. That last note that then drags out always feels this finality of this. Oh yes, okay, we're moving on to the next moment. We had it feels complete, which is something that I really enjoy, and I feel that's especially in something like that where it's like you're building up to something that's like this big moment for her that was kind of a pretty big turning point.
And there's a great shot of you just like beaming,
Yeah.
just beaming, and it's like it is very triumphant and awesome. It feels really like wholesome. I like that there's no orchestra. I like that it's just like rock band. Like at the end, like it just feels like a really like kind of OG Cobra Kai moment to me. Like taking it back to
a lot of
basics.
like season 1 energy.
Yes, exactly.
in a good way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And since when do you have a problem with that?
Since a psycho attacked me with nunchucks.
So dark, so moody.
Yeah, that track is like super moody. It's like very in the Miyagi-Do palette, but in like this very spooky way.
Yeah,
like,
that's such a good way of
when we were
describing
working
that.
on it, we just called this scene Slytherin Sam because you felt like you were like embracing your evil streak. And this also has one of my favorite moments of the whole season when you flip the bottle cap.
Which, by the way, Billy was the nicest about it, but I FaceTimed him again. Like he tried to teach me. I FaceTimed him the night before, and he went and actually opened a beer bottle, and I'm over here with a Sprite cap, and he's sitting here like doing this, and he's on FaceTime. He's like, "Can you put it at a different angle? I want to see what you're doing with your hand." I'm like, "I'm doing this," like full on actual sensei moment, which is really fun.
I love that skill goes beyond Johnny Lawrence, and it's actually just Billy.
Yes, no,
And it's
very...
the biggest slap in the face to Daniel. When you do that, and it's like cuts to Daniel's face, and she's like, "Excuse me? What has
I remember
my daughter become?"
when we were filming that scene, Ralph was like, "If my daughter actually talked to me like that," he was like, I could feel it, like his like, "Wait a minute, we've been doing this too long. I know you too well. Now you're acting like a brat." Like,
But it's like that's like one of these like slow burn scenes where like we're starting to see Sam like turn a little bit into something that's different than what.
So you guys are calling it Slytherin Sam. I call her Sith Sam.
Okay.
That's because it feels like the fall from grace. Like in certain moments like that, it feels that like the seduction of the dark side and the getting like, the pull and that kind of thing. So I have like the phases. I have like Sassy Sam, which is like season 1, like the sweet, flirty Sam. And then it's Sensei Sam, of course. And that's Sensei Sam. This is Sith Sam, and that was like the really getting to like start to dig into that was super fun. But this was a really fun point at which I kind of got to start to have the parts of Sam that were less like all these discombobulated pieces of Samantha, and instead we're like, okay, this is the version of me that Dad sees, and this is the potential in me that Johnny sees, and this is the version of me that I wanted to be for Mr. Miyagi, and all of the different karate senseis that she's had starting to kind of mix up, and you know what I mean? But like it's like oil and water. They just don't want to go together right now, and that was really fun to explore.
LaRusso of Miyagi-Do Karate versus Piper Ellsworth of Cobra Kai.
So My Right Way, your tournament fight with Piper, it's a callback from the rooftop scene in Cobra Fly, and that's something that the creators had said to us is like, remember this, it's gonna come back, and now we get to see it in its tournament glory, which is obviously just like a bigger sound. You have all the same rock stuff, but now all of this giant orchestra helping out.
That moment of like, okay, like, having approval from this side, and it just isn't satisfying what she needs in that moment, and like needing more than that, and having that moment from Johnny be the thing that like.
And that comes in on Johnny's nod.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say, I was looking at
like,
the
and then it turns back, and then when Johnny reacts, and it's like gives you permission to like.
And sometimes like John, Josh, and Hayden, they actually say this a lot to us. They'll say like, when we were working on Cobra Fly, they were like, remember this, because like this is gonna come back. Like we want to tie that kind of thing
interesting.
Together.
That's cool.
We never get to do that with Sam.
Yeah,
This is like shred scene.
Oh my gosh. You guys come up with these clever names, and I just connected. I was eagle and fly, and it's also a pun. Oh my God. Just clicked in my head.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, you guys are genius. Cool.
Yes.
You guys should
We're extremely into the track names. Like, there's a whole naming phase that happens once we're done with the music.
Oh, that's amazing.
I think, what I love about My Right Way is we get to hear that like run up in the guitars that we just like never have heard with Sam before, and it's really just like it pays off for us. Like we spend 39 episodes working on this show, and we've developed like these palettes and these different sound worlds and different themes for these characters, and just to like employ that at just the perfect time. And especially like Johnny is giving you his like approval to like just go in this different direction and to like find your own path. And like just hearing that, I get chills even talking about it too. Like it gets me so excited. And I think like the audience picked up on that too. It's like a really just like electrifying moment. And it really, as you said, just like it's like this like it's almost this breath, like that's just like this exhale of like you can finally like be yourself. And it pays off because you win.
As it should have been all along. Right? No, I'm teasing.
One thing I think that's really cool for us is when we discover that like a theme we wrote in a totally different context fits so naturally to the new one. Like it feels like this was always a rock thing. And so it's like, that's very exciting when we're working, and it feels so representative of your character that you've now like, you know, found what was always in there and like just kind of needed the right sensei to unlock it.
What better way to cap off this exciting exhibition of karate than with a final match for the ages?
Well, it's just like so epic.
Yeah.
For every character. And then you have this great moment with Daniel, and it like culminates in the hug, which is like, I don't know, the hug you've been waiting. Like, I feel like this is the hug you've been waiting for like 4 seasons. Not that he's not a loving father, but it's like this moment of acceptance after all of this, like, you know, drama between you guys.
Right, and I feel like that's the thing is like he's always been a great dad, and they have like a great father-daughter relationship. But this is like a big sensei-student moment.
Yes.
And I love, I mean, the part of, you know, the 2-time champ and Johnny Lawrence. And this was the thing that when we started the show, if you could have told me one thing was gonna happen, I would have been like, no freaking way. No freaking way am I gonna be like the deciding fight that's gonna like throw down the title of Cobra Kai versus the pulling the 2 senseis together, couldn't get their shit together. Like, you know, it just makes me wanna like get up and fight right now. Like it makes me wanna like, I'm like having to, I know I'm gonna go home and just start kicking and punching things. That's what I do when I get to in the Cobra Kai mindset. And then I just start like just walking around like I'm karate chopping objects.
What a great life skill to like gotten from this show.
It's like truly exalting. Like just hearing like the orchestra culminate. It's the biggest orchestra we've used on the show.
Oh wow.
It's definitely the biggest moment we've heard Sam's theme.
Yeah, oh yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a Bruckner symphony.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just massive, massive, massive. And to just be able to like, I think it's just one of like the moments we're most proud of. And it all culminates to that one moment. And it just feels so like deserved. And after the tumultuous season that the character has of just figuring out who she is and her relationship with her father and her father's legacy, there's just like so much in that hug. And yeah, it just gets me every time
and
I
then
watch
you're
it.
ready to fight. Like without that moment, you wouldn't be ready to like go out there on the mat.
No, which how very, you know, at her heart, truly Miyagi-Do of her to need that, like, you know, that emotional connection rather than the lighting a fire under somebody's butt or somebody's butt. She needs that, like, that is her bolster. That's her pillars to go out there and stand on.
So this music is obviously massive. It's like, you know, this is the final fight in the season, so it's got to be as big as possible. The stakes have never been higher, and it's a really violent fight. So we just went totally insane in terms of like the primal percussion and bringing in like all the energy of the guitars, and like the orchestra is bigger than ever, and we're kind of weaving all of these themes that relate to you and Tori and the rivalry that we've had since season 2 all together.
The material that this is based off of is the music we call it Dojo from Hell, but it's the music when like Tori comes into the dojo in season 3 at the finale. And there's the slow-mo.
Like it's the same as that like electronica bass line.
Yeah. Which kind of is like turned into a bit of Tori's theme. Like we kind of use it with Tori. So this is you going back and talking to them.
And actually, this part in the strings is the hallway in season 2 before you start circling when everyone's running. This is like a big, like, we're bringing everything back. And then you hear your theme in there a little bit. And the whole thing about this fight is like, it's really violent, so we wanted it to feel like primal at all points. But then you have this moment.
Best in the season.
It's truly the best moment in the whole season. And this is when you get into your stance, and it's like the whole new Sam LaRusso. And so, like, what's happening here with the music is like you've got the Johnny palette and the like Miyagi palette, and it's also just got this kind of like blood sport aspect to it, and it just brings all of the things together for you.
This is long too. This is one of our longest pieces for sure.
Oh yeah, well, I fought it.
Yeah.
It was long. It was a very rough few
It's not
days.
even the full fight. It's not even the full fight. Yeah, this doesn't even include the final point.
Right here. That's when you get your second stance.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know what you would call it.
that was probably does have a name.
Boom.
Oh yeah,
love
that's
that.
the double
Favorite.
hand.
It's one of my favorite, and then obviously we know that there's a callback to that, but
Oh, yeah.
that is like one of my favorite, like,
Yes. It's just like never letting up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
The music cannot let up.
Yeah, we have to like build intensity through the whole thing, and so you get like a lot more drums just going in.
You were talking about the moment where it was, the moment where she comes into the dojo, and from season 3, and that moment lives in my head every time somebody asks me, like, can Sam and Tori ever work it out? I remember filming that scene and actually standing there and actually seeing Peyton, because Peyton's like the sweetest human ever, and like actually seeing her come around that corner and have that face and like coming at me, and I had like this actual, like, I was hyperventilating, like actual, trying to like get that. And then so I'm like all swimmy headed and I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh my God, and they had a fan going on her and she looks scary. And I just actually truly had this moment of like, this is what it would be like to like meet your boogeyman. Like this is that waking nightmare, like someone please stop the night terror kind of feeling. And the idea that even like, I didn't even connect the dots because I felt like I felt the music calling back to, and then obviously visually especially calling back to the school fight. But the idea that there's that like that boogeyman aspect, but that at the same time Sam's like going above that in terms of her energy and anger and the fire that's coming.
Oh,
there.
it's like this is the moment where you've figured out how to fight your boogeyman.
Yeah.
And that is like a very literal moment on screen, which is like our favorite hit in the entire season, is when you get in your stance, your new, like, never before seen Sam LaRusso, like, this is my style of karate stance. Yeah. And there is this like swipe that sounds like a sword being drawn, and like the whole palette of the cue kind of changes right there, because what we're hearing is like all of the Johnny palette Sam stuff that we set up in those earlier like roof jumping cues and the Piper fight mixed with a lot of the like Miyagi stuff, and there's like this shakuhachi flute that comes in and like all of these synthesizers that are like very Bloodsport-esque, and just like the weight of the orchestra, which often comes in with some of the Miyagi stuff, and like all of that ties together as you like center yourself, and then you just go ham. And it's like,
I always imagine, like, I mean, if this show was an anime, for example, like this is where like you would just be going Super Saiyan and like there would just be like just light pouring out of your body as you channel like 1,000 ancestors.
and you're like hair
love
shoots
that.
up.
And that's, yeah, exactly. And I remember there's also like a cut to Tori, and she's just like,
Yeah.
what? Like, but like we're so in your head and so in your space, and it's just like such a magical moment, and it gets me pumped
Every time.
every time. And I think like also this one like connects with the audience too. Like people are always messaging us and saying like Bonsai Badass, Bonsai Badass, Bonsai Badass.
Oh,
Like
that's
it is,
so cool.
it is definitely one of the most popular tracks, and I think because again we're like we have never heard Sam's identity
Yeah.
in the music like this ever.
Fight!
So that's season 4, Sam. this was really cool to like hear you talk about what goes into like your preparation for that character arc, because like we kind of just subconsciously like pick up on it while we're working and basically try to support it the whole way. And so like I hope it was cool to kind of hear
This
that
has
part.
been insane, and now I'm gonna know. I'm like, they got my back. Like if I'm like not, I'm like,
that's
there's
awesome.
something there. They're gonna catch it. They're gonna see, and they're gonna make it tangible. So, but that's, I mean, this has been so cool. I really appreciate you guys like letting me get into your heads on how all this works. You know,
Likewise, and our pleasure. Whenever we finish a season, we're always like, cool, so what do we get to do next?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
and it's always because every season throws us, you know, a new curveball over what we're gonna do with the characters' themes. And so I think
on Cobra Kai. What are you talking about?
Who would have guessed?
Right.
And so I think we are very excited to share Sam's next stage.
Yeah.
You know,
in season 5.
yeah, you guys are a part of this now, because my stunt double, my stand-in, my makeup artist, we all ended up dressing like, you know, obviously as Sam during all the tournament stuff, and I was like, these are all the people it takes to make Samantha. Like I need like, and obviously everybody else too. I'm like, and you, like we're all coming in. I'm like, we are Samantha. Like I
Wow.
need you guys.
We are Samantha.
Honored.
We are Samantha.
We're Samantha.
After all that, you guys got all kinds of stuff that I had
Hashtag
no
we are
idea anybody was
Samantha.
picking up on. So there you go. We are Samantha.
It is a dream come true score for us to do, and like the fact that it's just so us and our voice, and it actually is a rarity to like really have your voice. Sometimes it's not our job. It's just like you do what the clients want and you do what the show or the movie needs or whatever. And in this case,
it's exactly what we like want to
Venn
write in
diagram
every
is a
way.
circle.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
I will sing the praises of this show for the rest of my life, and how grateful I am, and what an incredible opportunity.
Mary, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
in
you
this
so much for having me.
little round table chat here. And to the wide world of Cobra Kai fans, on September 9th, you can see season 5 of Cobra Kai on Netflix. There will be a lot more badass music and a lot more of this badass character.